Hello, all non-humans and humans. Welcome to another welcome to another episode of Judgemental Readings by moi. Believe it or not, this is like the third intro. Ooh, the third intro I've filmed. Usually, I don't care. All mistakes are brought in, but I got new gear. You guys wouldn't be able to tell because I've taken a break from doing this for a little bit, but I have the video scheduled to come out once a week. So you can't tell that there has been a break, which is great. Makes my life significantly easier. I can decide to not do something for a month and we're good. In that break, I've looked at the videos every once in a while. I'm not as big of a fan as I am of some of my video game videos. I'm not as entertained. I kind of get bored by them. I don't know if it's the book. I don't know if it's my personality. I don't know what it is. One thing was the audio is shit. And just like with my video game videos, I was like, nah, I'm not putting any money and effort into this because I'm not going to make a career. I'm not going to make a job out of this. This is for me and my friends and my family and people that I care about and for shits and gigs for the internet. I was like, I'm not going to put into money into this. But eventually, for example, for the video games, I got a tripod. Very inexpensive tripod, but I love it. It works. I've been able to use it in other places in my life. So good investment. Well, I finally broke down and decided to get a mic. I didn't want to get one of those big setup mics that most professional YouTubers or YouTubers that are putting time and effort into it are getting, because I still want my setup to be very chill, just again, zero effort, zero energy. So I got a very inexpensive mic again. We'll see how it works. I've tested it out a couple of times. It's great. I can even do ASMR with the kitties now. Not that I want to do ASMR. Won't tell anybody that I have an ASMR channel. But anyways, if I'm going to be doing audiobook style narrations, then I think a microphone would be good. Also, there's a friend that I have that loves mouth sounds. I'm sorry. I love you. She's like, nope, I'm never watching any of your videos ever again. I'm shunning you. So, anyways, yes, there's been a lot of going on in my life, but I won't get into it because these videos are about my favorite book of all times. Which, after all this time, we're still only we're in chapter 7 now. I didn't even watch the previous video to know where I was. I mean, kind of, but I was like, whatever. I'm going in blind. It's been a month since I've read this book. Also, I couldn't look any queerer if I tried it today. I am refreshing my hair dye. So here comes my little hair dyeing heating cap. Depending on time and how it goes, I might just show you guys the results afterwards. I'll probably just be wet. I'm not about to take the dye off and then dry it for y'all to get the full effect. You'll get that in the next video. It'll be fine. All you have to do is wait a week and then you'll see what my hair looks like. Maybe it'll be shit. 10 out of 10 would not recommend the Arctic Fox Blue. Just the oranges have been fine. The pinks and reds have been fine. Fine. Blue? No. Shh. 0 stars. So anyway, let's get started with our video. Oh God. I also promised I would continue to do character voices, and I gotta read the smut out loud. I've decided I'm going to because it wouldn't be fun anyway, so anyways. Alright. Return to Kiss of the Basilisk by Lindsay Straub, who, I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name, is Lindsay. Anyways, chapter 7. I wonder if you can hear all the rustling and the rubbing. I am going to listen to this afterwards. Anyways, the prince would base his decision on a kiss. Oh God. I forgot how much I hate our main character's name. Tem didn't know how or when the kiss would happen, but it was traditional for each girl to kiss the prince on the night of the first elimination. Then again, the first elimination had already occurred, so yes, on the first night. So the process clearly wasn't following the conventional norms. What if she didn't get the chance to kiss him at all? What if Leo simply eliminated girl after girl without ever touching them? Her worries followed her to the cave that night, the curved stone walls enveloping her in suffocating warmth. The only light was the fireplace, which glowed behind Caspin, illuminating his outline like a ghost. The elimination hung over them like a shadow. They both knew what would happen tomorrow, but neither of them spoke of it. Instead, Caspin brought her straight to the mat, undressing her as he kissed her, pressing his mouth against her as if he could claim it as his own. All right. I didn't know we were going to jump into the spice so quickly. Based on fan audience recommendation, since I'm going to read the spice scenes, but I feel fairly gross doing it. Not because I don't like spice scenes. I love spice scenes. These just are. Anyways, I have decided to wear a disguise. I might not even be able to do a little bow on it. Aha! Right. Now that I'm properly disguised. There went my bookmark. Okay. Gotta get the eye holes to match right so that I can at least see somewhat. All right. Great. I feel totally separated from reality. I can properly immerse myself in this spice now. Tem accepted. Caspin brought him straight to the mat, undressing her as he kissed her, pressing his mouth against her as if he'd claim it as his own. Tem accepted his tongue willingly, showing him without a question what she wanted. Eventually, his lips moved to her neck. Then they moved even lower. Caspin kissed slowly down her stomach, pushing her legs apart as he did so. His hands went to her thighs, opening them and pulling them around his shoulders. A sudden wave of panic hit Tem as she realized what Caspin was about to do. "Stop!" she cried sharply. He stopped, looking at her in surprise. Tem was overreacting. She could tell by the look of confusion on Caspin's face. She shouldn't be telling him to stop. It went against their roles. But they were past the point of student and teacher. Now they were lovers, and Tem wanted an equal say. She had never had a man's mouth between her legs before, and she knew she wasn't ready to experience the thing Vera had bragged so cruelly about. He hasn't gone down on her in this entire time. I thought he had. He's just only finger fucked her. Is that it? She has had his cum claw inside her all of these months and all these days, and he hasn't gone down on her? What the hell? All right. Caspin's hand tightened on her thighs. What's the matter, Tim? She shrugged, unwilling to put it into words. Caspin sat up slowly, considering her. The firelight flickered on his face, and she saw he was genuinely concerned. "It will not hurt," he said, "quite the opposite." "I know," she whispered, "but it's the first time for me." He tilted his head. "Everything we have done together has been the first time for you. Why is this any different?" Again, Tem couldn't put it into words. There was silence as she tried to formulate her thoughts, and Caspin waited patiently for her to do so. Finally, she murmured, Yes, the one thing, well, yes to one thing isn't yes to the rest. Finally, okay, there are nuggets, there are little freckles here and there of things that I'm like, and then we put it in the rest of it and it all sucks. But like, yes to one thing isn't yes to the rest. Beautiful. Everybody should have that tattooed on their fucking forehead. Thank you very much. That is true. He paused, tilting his head in the other direction, clearly trying to understand her outburst. She was still trying to understand it herself. But have I not earned your trust? Get out! Get out! Ugh! Tem considered the question. You have? Then why not let me do this? Tem's chest felt like it was full of rocks. Who would want a girl who tastes like chicken shit? I'm afraid, she finally admitted. Of what? She shrugged, refusing to say anything else. I'm sorry. How could she explain it to him? He was a basilisk, the serpent king. He wasn't afraid of anything. This is ridiculous. Sex meant next to nothing to Caspin, but it meant everything to Tem. He had no idea what it was like to be her, to be fragile and human and vulnerable. This wasn't something he could understand. Caspin pushed her knees together gently, as if to undo what just happened. We can wait until you're ready, if that is what you wish. When she still didn't speak, that's weird. When she still didn't speak, he crawled so he was lying next to her. They were silent for a while, and she knew Caspin was letting her determine what happened next. She wasn't ready to confide her true fears. Instead, she whispered, "Do you like doing it?" Caspin's breath was on her neck. Why do you ask? I'm just curious. Ignore the sound of the cats destroying the house. Okay. He looked at her for a long moment before answering. Yes, I like doing it. Why? He shrugged, the muscles rolling in his shoulders. Instinct, I suppose. But what do you like about it specifically? She couldn't tell this was the first time anyone had ever asked him that. She could tell this was the first time anyone had ever asked him that. Oh my god, really? Like, why is she like the only, like the fact that they portray her as the only woman or human woman that acts like a human woman. You're telling me that nobody else has had conversations with him? Like, okay, it diminishes all of the other characters to nothing. Like it's like painting our main character as the only competent, not even special, just competent and real acting human being, and everybody else is just chicken shit. Surely, and like that, like to me, the frustrating thing is that that's like almost like a larger conversation about like womanhood in general. Like you're trying to say that like most women wouldn't ask something as normal and as natural as, or have a conversation with their partner like this. Like Tem, our protagonist, is the special one. She's the only one who'd be able to like look past this man's, I don't know, be interested in his humanity or his personhood to ask questions like that. Like it's just, it's upsetting. How do you look at the rest of womankind or people kind in general? She could tell this was the first time anyone had ever asked him that. Surely he found this line of questioning bizarre. But he indulged her anyway, saying, "It is a way to bestow pleasure on someone. It is a way to understand them and to taste them." At his words, Tem realized she would not be able to avoid her fears. She would have to face them no matter the consequences. So she asked the question that was gathering at the edges of her throat. What if you don't like the way I taste? To her surprise, Caspian smiled. That is impossible. Why? Because he propped himself up on his elbow. This part of you tastes like heaven. He brushed his lips on her neck, whispering the rest of his sentence right into her ear. I have no doubt the rest of you tastes the same. I'm trying to be sexy, but also grossed out by all of this. I'm so I need the sexy parts of me to come out. The like sexy male seductor parts of me to come out, but also I'm like watching in the sidelines like cringe. Anyways. All right. A shiver went down her spine. When Caspian pulled back, they looked at each other in the firelight, and Tem realized she'd never felt so vulnerable in her life. This was scarier, somehow, than when she had disrobed in front of him for the first time. This was the culmination of everything she'd had ever dared to fantasize about, that a man would want to taste her. And she felt as if she were falling head first off a cliff into a rolling ocean of unknown. Hold on 1 second. Very cool. Sorry. Caspian seemed to sense her distress because he pulled her closer. This should not be a concern, Tem. You have nothing to fear. She nodded, but her doubt must have shown on her face because Caspian sighed and said, Shall I prove it? Prove what? That you taste good. She frowned. How? Caspian paused. Oh, I know what he's about to do. Oh, okay. All right. If he doesn't do the thing that I expect that he's going to do, I'm going to be disappointed. Okay. Caspian paused. Then he took Tem's hand and moved it slowly down her body until it was between her legs. No, he's not doing what I expected he was going to do. He guided her first 2 fingers inside her gently, keeping eye contact the entire time. When Tem didn't protest, he pushed her fingers deeper, only stopping when she let out a soft moan. Then he pulled them back out, holding her hand between them, her wetness glistening in the firelight. He paused, and in that moment, every one of Tem's fears erupted inside of her. Then he smiled, and she knew what he was going to do. Still, it was an out-of-body experience to actually watch Caspian raise her hand, part his lips, and place her first finger gently in his mouth. She felt his tongue move between them, showing her exactly what he would do between her legs. When he was done, he kissed her fingertips, then he smiled. As I said, heaven. I was expecting that he was going to go down on her and then make out with her afterwards. So that, like, there's nothing like tasting yourself on your partner's lips, like, or mouth. Golden. All right, sorry. That was TMI maybe for some people. As I'm reading a smut book on the internet. Never mind. Tem had never felt anything close to the way she felt right now. Caspian had always made her feel safe, but this time was different. This gesture was deeper inside her. No. This gesture was deeper, more nuanced and profound than all the other times he'd touched her. Caspian was looking at her with such calm patience she could have cried. How do you always know? She whispered. Know what, Tem? How to make me feel better. Oh, it's a little romantic. Blah. He chuckled softly. I never know. I just try something and hope for the best. Now it was her turn to laugh. At her response, Caspian laughed too, and for a moment Tem was perfectly happy. He pulled her against his chest, and they lay there together, bodies intertwined. Is there anything else you wish to discuss? He asked quietly. She considered the question. When she first met Caspian, she never would have imagined they'd have a conversation like the one they were having now. She never thought she'd be telling him her fears and secrets, never thought he'd be asking her to tell him more. There was really only one other thing she wanted, and it had been on her mind for a while now. but to actually say it seemed insurmountable, like climbing the tallest mountain with nothing but her bare feet to carry her. Yet she knew if she said nothing, she would regret it. I wish you would let me in. He was silent for a moment before replying. In what way? Tem considered how much she wanted to say. She wanted to ask about their mental connection, specifically why he could speak to her, but she couldn't speak back to him. It was just another way their power was imbalanced, and she wondered if he could control it, if he was somehow blocking her from accessing him. Rather than say what she was thinking, she raised her fingers, tapping it gently against his temple. He caught her wrist with his hand, pressing her palm against his cheek. I cannot control them, Tem. It seems like you can. He shook his head. It is beyond the boundaries of my power. Then why does it feel like there's a wall between us? Why does it feel like you're shutting me out? He shook his head again. I do not know. Tem was silent. She believed him because she knew he wouldn't lie, but it felt like he was keeping something for himself. But it felt like he was keeping something from her. Sorry, I was watching Eden get all curled up in our new bed. We have a friend who gave us a cute little, what are they? The like squishmallow beds. Because they got ripped by one of their dogs, and so we like sewed it up, and the girls love it. They love their big squishmallow bed, and she's all curled up. I should just show you guys. Hold on. Can I like look at her being all cute and then teeny? Yes. All right. Cat distraction. What? Hello. Okay. Meow. All right. Where was I? This is working. I feel significantly more comfortable because y'all can't tell who I am anymore. All right. Tem was silent. She believed him because she knew he couldn't lie, but it felt like he was keeping something from her, like he knew more than he was revealing. She decided to change the subject. There's an elimination tomorrow. Caspin's eyes fell to her lips. Yes, there is. Well, she insisted, shouldn't you give me some advice or something? A muscle tensed in his jaw. I always try. Hold on. That's my muscle tensing. I have no advice to give. Seriously? She was pushing him, and they both knew it. She wanted him to validate their bond, to acknowledge the fact that there was something between them. But Caspin only dipped his head, resting his lips on her throat as he said, I do not wish to discuss this, Tem. A twinge of anger twisted her gut. You don't wish to discuss the exact thing you're training me to do? His teeth grazed her jaw. No. Even if it means I'll be unprepared tomorrow? He lifted his head. Even then. From the look on his face, it was clear he was done with this conversation, but Tem wasn't. You can't have it both ways, Caspin. His eyes narrowed. In which ways are those? You can't prepare me for the prince without actually doing so. I have prepared you enough. You will only be required to kiss him tomorrow. And if I'm required to do more, you will not be. You don't know that. There's always been an elimination. That wasn't supposed to happen either. Oh, sorry. You don't know that. There's already been an elimination. That wasn't supposed to happen either. Caspin frowned, and Tem knew she had an opening. What if we were required to stay at the castle after tomorrow night? Traditionally, the final 3 girls were chosen at a formal ball, after which they moved into the castle for the last part of the elimination process. It was meant to increase their proximity to the prince, to ensure he had a chance to sleep with each girl. This is so gross. It's so gross. It's like, I don't want to say objectification. It's like dehumanization in a way. It's commodification of like sexual connection. Like it's icky. It makes me icky, and I don't know which words to put to it. You will not be, Caspin said. It is too early. Tem shrugged. That's what you think. But the royals make their own rules. You told me that yourself. Caspin's frown deepened. I would have been informed if that were the case. Are you sure? Doesn't seem like the royals care about keeping you informed. The skull in the study flashed through her mind, and she wondered if it had flashed through Caspin's. He sat up. Enough, Tem. She sat up too. But instead of retaliating with another dig, Tem placed her hand on his cheek, cupping the curved edge of his jaw in her palm. He was right. It was enough. Tem knew she was lashing out for reasons that had nothing to do with him. She was nervous for tomorrow. She was frustrated with herself. She was feeling desperate and unsteady and utterly out of control. She was consumed with need. Tem wanted more. She wanted more since the first night she'd come into this cave. But she couldn't rush Caspin. He was immovable, an ancient basilisk who wouldn't be swayed by her or anyone else. And yet somehow she's the one that he's going to pick because she's a special flake. Blah. As much as she wanted more from him, she couldn't get it. She wouldn't get it until he was ready to give it. So for once, she stood down. I'm sorry, Tem said quietly. Caspin's eyes met her. He gave a small smile. You have nothing to be sorry for. They spent the rest of the evening doing nothing more than kissing. Whenever Tem tried to take things further, Caspin stopped her. Every time her hand went down below his waist, he pulled it back up. Every time her knees opened, he closed them. When he walked her to the head of the trail, his gold eyes lingered on her before he kissed her gently on the forehead. Then he was gone. All right, cool. I can undress. Ah! It's back. Hey, guys, it was me all along. I'm sorry. I haven't gotten used to wearing a microphone, so we'll see how this situation goes. Maybe you'll just hear the entire I don't know. All right. A dress arrived for her just like last time. Actually, I should make sure. Okay, yeah, it's not a mute. All right. That would have sucked. A dress arrived for her just like last time. This one was deep maroon with gold embroidery at the waist. It was low cut. Leo would love it. Tem pulled it on slowly, wondering once again what it meant that Caspin was dressing her in something that would make her attractive to another man. She put the necklace on too, centering the gold claw on her chest. Oh my god, these fucking claws. The other claw, again, for basilisks who don't have claws. This would make so much more sense if they were like teeth, but like, or fangs. Fangs would make sense. We're talking about a giant snake. They don't know what limbs are. They don't know what fingers or phalanges are. They're not going to know what a claw is. Fangs. Snake. Basilisk. Fangs. Ugh. Whatever. This woman's really just wanted like lizard people. Anyways. She put the necklace on too, centering the gold claw on her chest. The other claw was inside her. Unlike last time, I just realized what I read. She put the necklace on, centering the gold claw on her chest. The other claw was inside her. Cool. Matching claws. Unlike last time, Caspin didn't send her any pulses. I almost want to put the mask back on. The inside claw is just the jizz pearl claw. All right. Instead, he was completely absent from her mind the entire afternoon, and even when the carriage arrived to take her to the castle, there was nothing but a gaping emptiness where his presence used to be. But you have the claw. The castle was just as she remembered it. Tem once again gave her name at the door before being ushered into the same ballroom as before, the impossibly high ceilings making her head spin. The crowd was rowdier than the last time she'd been there. It seemed that the royals had no shortage of alcohol. There were bottles of whiskey and tankards of mead lining the tables scattered throughout the room. Tem looked around for Gabriel, but didn't see him anywhere. She did notice Lily, who gave her a cheeky wave before disappearing into the crowd. Leo was sitting at a table, his arms draped around the blonde girl he'd ranked first during last week's elimination. She was practically in his lap. I feel like this is supposed to be like a mirroring of the scene with What's-Her-Face sitting on her boyfriend's lap at the club or whatever. She was practically on his lap, laughing at his every word. When Tem passed them, Leo arched an eyebrow and raised his whiskey in her direction. She ignored him. Girl, you are doing a shit job at what you're supposed to be doing. Like, if you don't want to... she's like, I have to win, because if not, my mother will die of poverty. But like, yeah, oh my God. Anyways, this is stupid. Instead, she poured a whiskey of her own, downing the fiery liquid in a single gulp. It burned on the way down, just like it did the last time she'd had it. But it also steadied her nerves, and Tem basked in the brief moment of peace as the alcohol numbed her senses. That was when she heard it. Help! The word was barely audible at first, nothing more than a whisper in the corner of her mind. Tem froze at the sound, and for a single panic second, she thought it might be Caspin. But when the voice came again, she knew it wasn't his. Help me, please. The voice was desperate and strained. It sounded weak, like whoever was speaking was on the brink of passing out. Tem closed her eyes to block out the party, concentrating with all her might, but the voice didn't come again. All that remained was this heavy rock of dread in her stomach. Whoever the voice belonged to was in pain. Tem's heart hurt for them, and she didn't even know them. The dread deepened. She wanted to get out of the castle. There was something dark going on here, something wrong. It grated against her energy in a way she didn't understand, and all she wanted to do was leave. Tem wove through the crowd, heading towards the enormous double doors at the end of the ballroom. She pushed past everyone in her way, clawing toward the green edges of the garden. The freezing night air hit her the second she was outside, lifting goosebumps on her arms and chilling her straight to the bone. There was a bird bath just a few yards away. Tem clung to it, gripping it with both hands, staring down into the still water. It took several minutes before she had the strength to look up again, and when she did, she realized it wasn't just a hedge she had seen, it was a maze. The walls of the maze stretched on in an endless structure of sculpted corners. Tem couldn't see past the first pathway, but she knew it must go on for miles. A hedge maze was exactly the kind of useless thing the royals would spend money on. Behind her, footsteps approached. Leo's reflection appeared in the water. Perfect, Tem muttered in greeting. Good evening to you too, Leo said with an amused smile. She heaved a huge sigh, turning to face him. Good evening, Leo. His smile widened. You've abandoned your date? You've abandoned your date, Tem said tartly. Leo shrugged. She won't mind. I think she might. What I mean was I won't mind. She's not much of a conversationalist. Then why spend time with her? He smirked. She's talented in other areas. Tem scowled. It was standard for the girls to throw themselves at Leo during the elimination process. Most of them would try to have sex with him long before the final elimination, and Leo would surely let them. Again, all of this is so gross. Of course he would brag about it. Tem wanted to slap him. I want to slap everyone, all of you. Instead, she said, if that's the case, why waste time with me? I prefer your company. I want you here, remember? Can't imagine why. Leo ran his eyes over her greedily. Can't you? He was far too close for comfort. Tem shifted away, gripping the sides of the bird bath until her skin turned white. Leo swirled his drink, which was nearly empty. You don't seem to enjoy these parties, Tem. Well spotted. We could go somewhere else if you prefer, he said. Where? My room. Tem rolled her eyes. No, thank you. Shame. Leo sighed dramatically. It's been a while since anyone stayed overnight. Perhaps my seduction method needs tweaking. Seduction method? The words slipped out before she could stop them. Leo's eyes flicked to hers. He seemed to sense he had an opening because he stepped closer, tilting his head to their faces till their faces were aligned. Yes, he said quietly. I have a method. Would you care to hear it? She wanted to say no, but she couldn't. I'm sure you're going to tell me anyways. I take a girl up to my room, Leo continued as if she hadn't said anything. I pour her champagne. And then I roofie her. Then I draw a bath. Tem wrinkled her nose. Seriously? Yes. Leo's mouth twitched. Girls love baths. Honestly, that sounds like your gay best friend. Like, I take her to my room, I give her a drink, and then I give her a bubble bath, and then we watch, like, dramas together. K-dramas together. Tem was getting a migraine from how often she was rolling her eyes. So am I, Tem. At her frustration, Leo smiled, extending his hands to touch the bottom of her hair, twirling a wavy strand between his thin fingers. She should have pulled away, but she didn't. We take a bath, he continued. We drink champagne. Leo looked at her in the eyes. And then we have sex. That serious? Bleh. He was still twirling her hair gently. For some reason, it gave her chills. Of a bad kind, I would imagine. And that works? Tem whispered. Every time. They stared at each other, just the two of them, standing at the edge of the maze. Dude, that's because you're the prince, and they're trying to win your affection so that they can, have power, influence, whatever the hell, get out of poverty. It's not you, babe. It's your title. Like, I give them some chain, I give them a bubble bath, and then they suck my dickies. Yes, it's great. God. And you, Tem? He asked softly. Would it work on you? He was no, it wouldn't. I would punch you in the face. He was far too close, but for once Tem wasn't pushing him away. There was something about Leo that was drawing her in. She couldn't put her fingers on what it was, but it was concrete and strong, is it? And she couldn't seem to resist him the way she usually did. But she couldn't let herself give in either. Maybe he roofied you too, babe. How many? Okay. Oh, we're doing great. So she said, I'm not really a fan of baths. Not with creeps in the vicinity, at least. Leo smiled. The muscle in his neck strained as he arched his head to look at the stars. I'll never get a straight answer from you, will I? Probably not, but isn't it more fun that way? Yes, he said. It certainly is. He looked down at her, the smile still on his face. We could always skip the bath, Tem shrugged. I'm not really a fan of champagne either. He's laughed outright at that. In that case, I suppose I need a new method for you. Let me know when you find one. The second she said it, victory flared in Leo's eyes. Oh, no, I don't, this is supposed to be cutesy, witty banter, and I think we are supposed to get a love triangle, and no. Bleh. The second she said it, victory flared in Leo's eyes. I shall, he said quietly. Tem rolled her eyes again, but it was too late. She'd let their banter go too far, and now Leo thought he had a chance. I hate all of this. The worst part was he did. Tem didn't know. Wait. The worst part is that he did have a chance. I can't wait to wash away all of the filth that is this afterwards. Tem didn't know what it would take. Certainly not a bath in champagne, but given the right circumstances, she would go to his room. I gotta just remember that I hate all the characters here. You know, Leo said, swirling the ice cubes in his glass. You know what? I'm gonna give him a British accent. We've meant to kiss tonight. Tem sighed. I know. Any preference on where and when? Are you saying I have a choice? That's exactly what I'm saying. Cringe! Yes, I can get through this by being cringe. Tem crossed her arms, looking incredulously up at him. Do you have a preference? Of course, but I'd rather hear yours. Tem couldn't help but wonder what his preference was. She shrugged. My preference doesn't matter. I beg to differ. He sounded sincere. Tem's eyed him wearily. I'd prefer we didn't kiss at all. She could barely get the words out, but she had to see how he would react. To her surprise, he smiled down at her, flashing his gold incisors in the moonlight? What? Do you all know what incisors are? That's these. Like, it's not the thing as a colonial term. It's ew. He's got a grill. The white boy's got a grill. Ugh. And I'd prefer you didn't lie, but you knew that already. They held eye contact for a long time. Then Leo swirled his glass once again before dumping the ice cubes into the bird bath with a soft splash. His smile widened as he turned away. The night is young, Tem. Find me when you're ready. Then he was gone. Tem stayed outside until it became unbearable to do so. When she couldn't take the cold any longer, she made a beeline for the closest table with food on it. She was just stuffing an unholy amount of cured bacon in her mouth when a familiar voice slid into her ear. Don't eat too much, Tem. You might get fat. It was Vera, of course, looking down her nose like she always did. The prince prefers a curvy girl, Tem said, around a mouthful of bacon. The most relatable line of this whole book. Vera scoffed. Then she groaned, rolling her shoulders. What's wrong with you? Tem asked, despite herself. Nothing. It's just... Vera's mouth twisted. My back is killing me. Why? She scoffed. All this sex, of course. I bet you Vera's a virgin. You'd think we could at least do it in a bed, like civilized people. Anywhere would be better than the floor of a dirty old cave. But I guess that's all you can expect from a snake. Tem's mouth fell open. Thankfully, at the exact moment, a girl in the crowd waved at Vera and she disappeared. Wait, did we completely forget about the voice that was asking for help? Like, that, just ignore it. Who cares? Whatever. Like, I'm just going to go stuff my face with bacon. Like, finally, I was like, ooh, intrigue, interest, mystery. No, instead we're going to work on creating the stupid love triangle that's going to be shit and bringing back the stupid, useless, what do you call it? She's not even the rival of the book that we know is not going to get anywhere. Like, this book makes me upset. Tem's mouth fell open. Thankfully, at the exact moment, a girl in the crowd waved at Vera and she disappeared. Vera's Basilisk is having sex with her? The bacon turned in her stomach because it was just Vera getting another jab in. Maybe she wasn't actually having sex. She just wanted Tem to think she was. But Tem had to know for sure. These are the moments where I was like, are we 17? She spent the next hour. You know what? Never mind. I fucking act like this sometimes too. So let me... Anyways. She spent the next hour tracking down each girl left in the competition, subtly steering the topic towards their time in the caves. Again, we completely forgot about the help, and now we're like, oh, is everybody having sex except me? The twist in her chest becoming tighter with each conversation. They were all having sex, every single one of them, which meant that Tem was the only girl whose basilisk wasn't fucking her. God! It felt like the surprise elimination all over again. Like she was the ugliest girl in the room. Like she was the girl that nobody wanted. Tim's insecurities curled around her like vines, squeezing her stomach and compressing her lungs. How long had the other girls been having sex? Since the first night in the caves? But no, Vera had said that her basilisk didn't even touch her that night. So at least they were equal in that. But it didn't matter. They'd been unequal every day since, and Tem was once again the least experienced girl in the room. Suddenly, she couldn't breathe. She needed to get away from all these people that have been having sex without her, and she needed to do it now. Or maybe that wasn't what she needed at all. Maybe what she needed was one person in particular, the only person who she knew, without a shadow of a doubt, wanted to fuck her. Oh my God, is she about to angry fuck the prince? I need a pillow to scream in. I can't continue to scream into this microphone. I need a void. It took all of 30 I'm sorry, Wednesday. Wednesday just popped her head up like, oh my God, is everything okay? It took all of 30 seconds to locate Leo. He was leaning against the column, watching the party, his head cocked back against the stone in bored indifference. At the sight of him, Tem felt the familiar cinch of stubbornness, the refusal to give in. But why shouldn't she? Leo had made it clear he wanted to have sex with her, and he was obviously the only one. Why shouldn't she kiss him? The night was not young anymore, and more importantly, she was ready. I hate all of this. I hate it. All right. People parted for Tem like she was made of fire. By the time she got to Leo, a small circle had already cleared. He looked down at her calmly as she marched right up to him, grabbed his face, and kissed him. It wasn't right. It wasn't Caspin. But it was a kiss, and she needed it, and Leo kissed her back without hesitation, pulling her against him as he'd been expecting this from her all along. And maybe he had. Leo was a good kisser, frustratingly so. The rest of the party disappeared as his fingers tangled in her hair, arching her head back to meet his lips. His tongue dove into her mouth with expert rhythm, sliding against hers and coaxing a tiny moan from the back of her throat. She prayed he didn't hear it, but from the way his grip tightened, she knew that he had. Suddenly, her back was against the column. Leo's hands were moving lower. The kiss was barely appropriate anymore. And Tem had a sudden vision of Jonathan and Vera groping each other at the horseman. Tem pulled away. Leo let her go, but just barely. He was holding her so tightly that their lips were still touching as he whispered, "That wasn't so bad now, was it?" People were staring. Tem felt as if she were in a fishbowl. "Your Highness," Lord Chamberlain's voice floated past Tem's heartbeat, which was pounding in her ears. "What is it?" Leo said without looking away from Tem. "You have now kissed every girl. It is time." "Very well." Leo finally released her, taking a step back and adjusting his cufflinks. Then, to Tem's utter surprise, he had held out his hand. She took it cautiously, watching as he laced his fingers through hers. Their hands remained clasped together as they made their way toward the podiums, the entire ballroom watching them as they passed. Leo didn't hesitate. He walked Tem straight up to the first podium, holding on to her until she was standing facing the crowd. In a final gesture, he pressed his lips to her fingers. Then he dropped her hand and pointed at the next girl. Leo eliminated 2 contestants. The blonde he'd ranked first the last time, and a girl with choppy brown bangs. Tem barely registered any of it. She simply stood on her podium, the first podium, and wondered how the hell she had gotten there. She was beginning to understand Leo's game. It was clear he was rewarding her for the kiss, that she'd used her body as currency to buy herself this position. Leo was straightforward in that way. He was a man of his words, as ridiculous as that felt to admit. At least with him, she understood the rules of the game. When the elimination was over, Tem was immediately ushered back to the carriages along with the other remaining girls. She stared numbly out the window the entire way home, replacing what had happened. Miss, did you hear me? They arrived at her cottage. The footman was talking to her. Sorry, what? I said, someone will come for you tomorrow night. Be ready at 8. It took Tem a moment to register the words. Then she realized what he was saying. Leo had ranked her first. The honor came with a reward. Tem had a date with the prince. The end of chapter 8. I can't believe I'm actually intrigued to know what's going to happen in the next chapter, but I know it's going to be awful. I know I'm going to be raging the entire way through. This is... All right. I don't know. I thought Vera... I don't know. The sad thing is that I don't know. I don't know if this is going to go with the like... I don't know if this is going to do the whole Sarah J. Maas thing and like do a turnaround on us and actually I keep wanting to say Camden, whatever, the fucking Basilisk is going to end up being the bad guy and we're actually going to like Leo and that's going to be the ultimate love interest, or if this really is just going to be a stupid like forced love triangle and we know she's going to end up with the Basilisk the whole time because Leo's just going to be like the seductive villain. And then he's going to end up like, who is she actually going to end up with? Is this like just she actually get chosen by the prince, and then it's like she's torn between like saving the basilisks because obviously she's going to end up being like the basilisk queen or some shit like that. Is she going to be torn between saving the basilisk and like being the queen, or is she actually going to get pushed out and take over the basilisk as queen, and then we're going to have like a war between her and the human kingdom? Is like I don't know. I should not be this intrigued. This book is too shittily written and it's too much this is Rage Bait the book. There we go. All right. Let me see. We have a few minutes. So let me go wash off. Be right back. Well, if for whatever reason my phone decides to be weird and like it ends the recording, I'm not going to I'll do maybe a short so y'all can see my hair. But anyway, if that so happens, it was nice seeing you. If not, I'll be right back.
Nice. Didn't take me that long to rinse off the color. I just realized that, like, because I took such a long break between making videos, most of you guys, I don't remember, I don't think in my last video I had the new hair color. Most of you guys don't know that I have a new hair color. You're probably just used to the pink, orange, and the reds. Yes, no, I am now blue and pink. Blue and magenta. I'm hoping to, like, move towards blue and green eventually, so just trying to transition through the color wheel without having to, like, re-bleach my hair in places that already has color. So, yes, I bleached the roots, but, like, parts of my hair that were already bleached were not re-bleached. I just put dye over them. So yes, it darkened my hair significantly because obviously I had this like orange tone, and when I put blue on top of it, neutralizes it. So there were like there have been gray parts to it, but the reason why I don't like the Arctic Fox color was because it's patchy and like does not last at all. Like, the last time I reapplied it, I did like one wash and it had already... Like, I've washed my hair 3 times since the last reapplication and everything had just faded. I looked like faded cotton candy, which I'm okay with. Like, there's been periods where I'm just like, all right, this is mermaid hair. All right, this is like unicorn hair. All right, this is swamp monster. I like the swamp monster, I'm not gonna lie. So let's see. It's obviously still wet, but... Ta-da! that bad. Not bad for a reapplication. The pink has definitely continued to bleed out the most out of it versus the blue. But yeah, no. And if the application is patchy, that's my fault. I'm not the best at applying this. When I bleached my hair and re-dyed it, I had a friend who's a professional do it. And she did amazing. Absolutely amazing. Shout out. The problem was just the, whatchamacallit, the products that we used. So I've since then decided to change products. So the dye that I used this time is the Ion dye from Sally Beauty. I used their pre-dye product first, that like you apply it through the hair to see if it helped. And then I applied the dye myself. It had more of that processing smell to it, like when you use this is all semi-permanent dyes, but it had more of that like permanent dye smell to it. It didn't have like, you know, that is the one thing, like Good Dye Young and Arctic Fox had like all these, I swear they put fragrances on it so it doesn't smell so chemically or processing. But I didn't mind it. Didn't mind the smell. I'm a little blue on but it's okay. My application is still really bad, so like I'm pretty green. But I was okay with the greens on there. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it turns out, how it dries out. I don't know if I want to hair dry it right now because I want to watch my Chinese dramas while I hair dry. So, but I might post a short and show you guys. So yes. Thank you for hanging out for this episode of Judgemental Readings, Chapter 7. I hope to see you next time. Please like, subscribe, and comment on the video. Who knows? Maybe I will make this professional. Like, we are, the United States is on fire, and if I need to make money, I need to make money. So, anyways, like, subscribe, and share. I'll see you guys next time. Love you. Ciao, 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 ciao.